Hey, welcome back to the Zephyr Wellness YouTube channel. My name is Jake Wiskershin, and today I wanted to talk about how you can master your emotions by knowing where they originate. Now, this flowchart goes this way, and it's a little simple right now, but I promise it'll get more complex. In the past, this is how I've taught emotional functioning. It's a very basic concept. You feel something, it tells you what to do, and we don't go any further. But I'm adding something new, and then we'll add a couple more things. Also in the past, I've talked about how the emotions come from external environment, right? So if I feel fear, there's probably something out there that's making me feel the fear. If I feel shame, it comes from me failing to meet somebody's expectations, right? And I feel shame, and then I make an apology out of the guilt that I feel. If you guys aren't familiar with this, please go back and check the emotional understanding videos or listen to the Noggin Notes podcast. And I pick it apart and I dissect each emotion and its function and why they're important. I'm not going to go into that today, but there are 10 of them, and I put that up here. So let's pretend you feel something and you know what it is. Okay, now you can determine what the message is that emotion is trying to tell you. For example, fear says that there's a threat or a danger present. And if it's an external created fear, the origin is on the outside, in other words, then I can point to the snake or the tiger that's about to claw my face off, or the gunshots being fired or the explosions or whatever it is, and I go, yeah, I'm scared of that thing. I can point at it. I know what it is. But what if you don't know where it comes from and there is no external? So we ask where the origin is in order to understand what's going on. So if it's external and it's a yes, we can pretty much stop there and go, that's the thing that's making me feel what I'm feeling. How do I tolerate it? And right through, if you haven't seen the waves, this is the wave. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end to every emotion. And right in the middle is where you lose control. And then if you're good at tolerating emotions, you can come down the other side and know that you can tolerate another one. Okay. Once you tolerate the experience, you go on and have another one. But what if it's not external? What if there's nothing you can point to? And the answer is no. It's not external. There is nothing you can point to. There is no snake or tiger or gunshots or bombs going off. Then what? It's got to be internal. So if it's an internal origin, and I'll just write this up here so you can see it. If the origin is internal, meaning it's inside your head, it's in a belief system, something like that, then what we can do is we can pick it apart and decide whether or not we want to do that, because ultimately we have control over everything that goes on in our head. There is no such thing as I just got angry, or I just got scared, or I just have this anxiety or this depression, or mania just attacked me. Now I know that may sound like heresy to some people, especially in my community of psychotherapy. And certainly for the sufferers of those things that seem to descend like psychological chickenpox upon them, I promise you it's not true, and I'm about to illustrate why. If it's of internal origin and you're anxious and you don't know why, and you can't point to anything in the environment, there's two possibilities. One is you're thinking of something that makes you anxious or makes you scared or makes you embarrassed or shamed or distressed or whatever it is. The other possibility is it's a belief system that's being touched. So I'll write those up here. Thinking will cause emotions, and beliefs being poked at will cause emotions. Obviously, I can think about my beliefs, and my beliefs can generate thoughts. But for the time being, we'll just separate them as one from the other. If I'm thinking about something that makes me anxious, say a test for which I have to study, that's actually good anxiety. It motivates me. It makes me go study so that I don't fail the test. But it's still a thought. I'm thinking about the test, it's 6 weeks away, and I'm getting a little nervous because I haven't studied. Okay, that's all right. Now I can override this with some different thoughts. Follow me on this. I'm thinking about the test. I'm aware of what the emotion is. I know what the message is. The message says there's a threat or a danger. Yeah, the threat is I could fail the test. Okay, the origin is internal and I'm thinking about it. Now how do I think differently? I have control over that. I can control my thoughts. Don't necessarily control my emotions if they come from an external source, but if they come from an internal source, I can absolutely control it. Side note, because we can control our emotions by our thoughts, we can literally alter our own brain chemistry by directing our attention in one place or another. If I direct your attention to something that's happy and cuddly and fuzzy, you're going to have happy chemicals flowing through your brain. If I direct your attention and you allow me to something sad or scary, you're going to have sad or scary chemicals flowing through your brain. Cool? All right. So if I'm thinking about the test and it's 6 weeks away, I can introduce another thought that says 6 weeks is plenty of time. However, I can also introduce a different thought that says 6 weeks is not enough time. And I can start getting more scared, and I can build on that anxiety. And that second thought, that I believe 6 weeks is not enough time, same as the first thought, 6 weeks is enough time. It's a belief. And the beliefs can feed that thinking. Here's the key though, I have to know where my beliefs originate. Now, a lot of us are walking around, including myself, we're walking around with unconscious beliefs that we haven't questioned, that we obtained when we were children or in adolescence, or we just got through the TV or whatever it is. And we're walking around with these beliefs, and they guide our interactions, and they determine how we work with people and how we judge things and assess situations and so forth. And they're not all bad and they're not all good, but we have them, and they absolutely influence how we perceive things. So you might be listening to this video going, yeah, okay, Jake, I have some anxiety all the time, 24 hours a day. I don't know where it comes from. What can I do about it? Chances are pretty good that the way you interpret the world and the way you think about things is guided by a belief system. Here's the cool part. You can change your beliefs. Got to ask yourself whether or not they're useful. Now, a good friend who knows you really well, or a professional counselor, can listen to what you're saying and determine patterns in your speech and in your behaviors, and give some feedback and say, you know what? Every time you talk about tests, you get super anxious, but you've never failed a test. Where is this coming from? And you may sit there and go, I don't know. I just get anxious whenever a test comes up. It doesn't matter how long I have to study for it. And we may pull back the belief system a little bit and say, well, tell me about your childhood. Well, I was raised by a school teacher. She said that academics were important. Tests really mattered. And Mom, if you're watching this video, I don't have test anxiety because you're a school teacher. You gotta get that out of the way. But it's totally possible that growing up in a home with a school teacher, I could have an internal, artificially high level of anxiety around tests. Totally reasonable. And I pass them all. But man, now I'm 40, or almost going on 41, and I might still have that same anxiety, and I just don't know why. It didn't come from nowhere. It came from a belief that was put into me, probably with some really good intention by a parent who wanted me to pass tests. No big deal. But if we start to generalize this to other beliefs and other thoughts and other emotions, including moods and long-standing emotional experiences, we can start to pick apart whether or not the beliefs are useful. Some people may experience chronic shame. They don't think they're good enough. They have an empty sense of self. That came from somewhere, and you get to change it. Just like a person could change his or her test anxiety by saying, you know what? From this day forward, I choose to be confident in my tests because I have zero evidence that suggests that I should ever be scared of them because my study habits are adequate and I pass all my tests. Now we start thinking more positively, we don't have the anxiety. And the person who's struggling with internal shame is probably placed there by somebody who told them they were no good, never allowed them any room to grow, always held them down. Maybe there was abuse or trauma in their history. They can look at that and go, I know why I see the world the way I see it. And it's not because of me, it's because of other people telling me these things. That's a belief system that's been formed and in place for a really long period of time. And so what ends up happening is you see the world and it triggers things inside you, and I should point in here, it's inside your brain, but you feel them physically in a location, and I'll get to that in a second, and you don't know why. And I'm submitting that it's probably a belief system that may no longer serve you, may have never even served you, but it's with you nonetheless. So now you're in a position to say, I don't want to feel this way anymore. I don't want my emotions to be in control of me. I want to be in control of my emotions. Awesome. Now I mentioned physical location. Let's jump back up the flow chart here, because sometimes for the people who have the experience of like, it just came upon me, right? My depression is back. It seized me. No, it didn't. Something triggered it. Our job is to pick apart what triggered it and unpack it so that we can grab it, make sense of it, and decide whether or not we want to hold on to it or get rid of it. So right above emotions in the flow chart here, we're going to put physical location. And this is where in your body do you feel what you feel. Some people feel anger in their head, like a vice is crushing it. Some people feel embarrassment on their face. That's the shame guilt thing. Some people feel fear in the pit of their stomach. And we can go on and on with the 10 emotions and their various offshoots and where people feel stuff. This is really key for knowing what it is that you're feeling, because if you can learn to identify the emotions and their purpose, you can learn to identify where in your body you feel it, and then know what you're feeling out of it, which then gives you an idea about what the message is that it's trying to send. I didn't mean to erase my A and my D. And once you know this, you can make sense of whatever it is that you're feeling and decide whether or not you want to keep feeling it. Because remember, we all have control over our thoughts. If I direct my thoughts to, you can't see it because it's off camera, but there's some wolves over there, and they're little wolf puppies, and they're like playfully biting each other. They're just really cute. If I direct my attention to wolf puppies, I'm going to have happy chemicals. But if I direct my attention to my traumatic past and my nasty upbringing and my bullying history, I'm going to have some depressing experiences along with that. I'm going to have depressed chemicals flowing through my brain, if you will. The idea here is that we don't need to let go of every belief. A lot of beliefs are really useful. Beliefs that guide your morality. Beliefs that keep you safe. For example, a belief that you have to look both ways every time you cross the street. Probably a good one worth hanging on to. Is it necessary when you come to all streets and all curbs? No, of course not. Sometimes there's a block party being thrown and there's no traffic. But because it's a well-ingrained belief, we still get to the curb and go, oh wait, there's a band over there and there's barbecues over here. I don't need to do that. But it's still driving my behavior nonetheless. I can let go of it for the block party, but I don't want to abandon it for the rest of my life because I might walk off a curb and get hit by a car. So there are some beliefs that we want to hang on to, but we want to evaluate them to know where they originate. We're talking about emotions originating, whether they're external or internal, but beliefs may originate from parents, teachers, clergy, TV, movies, all sorts of media, friends, relatives, on and on and on, bosses even. And if we look back and we go, you know what, I think that I have that belief about self-shame, and it came from my dad, who didn't really respect me. Dad, you did respect me if you ever watched this video. Then I can look back and go, I don't know that that helps me right now. And it's no disrespect to my dad if I let go of that. I'm my own person, and I can find some self-efficacy by creating a new belief about who I am, what I'm going to do, and move forward in my life in a positive manner that's not riddled with anxiety, suffering from chronic depression, loathing and self-shame. We can find new hope and value by questioning our beliefs, understanding the emotions, the origin of where the emotions come, and whether or not the beliefs are useful. I'll tell you a quick story at the end of this. I was working with a guy who had to let go of a belief, and the belief was that he had to work really hard. He got into a place deep into his career, very successful family, happy, healthy, but he was struggling with this anxiety that he had to keep working hard, whatever that means. It meant something to him, but he couldn't quantify it or articulate it. He said, maybe you don't need to work so hard. Maybe you need to work a little smarter because that's what's being asked of you of this new position. And he went, yeah, I don't know that I can let go of that though, because it's been me for so long. He was identifying his belief about hard work with who he was as a human being. And it's important. I've illustrated this before with pens. If we hold loosely our beliefs, we can evaluate them and go, you know, I don't think I need this blue pen anymore. The lesson's over. I can ditch it. But if I'm clinging so tightly to my beliefs, often placed there by other people, by the way, that I get emotionally defensive when they're questioned, now I've got problems because I can't separate what I believe or what I think from who I am as a human being and how I'm designed to walk the earth. So we want to hold loosely our beliefs so that we can evaluate them as we go through life and see if they're worth hanging on to. Turns out that guy learned to let go of that belief that he didn't need to work hard by putting in extra hours that were really just kind of wasted time anyway, and missing his family, because at the end of the day, his tasks were already done because he was smart enough to figure them out quicker. He had to let go of the hard work belief because a new opportunity in this new job had asked him to do something different other than just labor away. I really hope this works for you. I hope you found it interesting. feel free to shoot us an email at info@zephyrwellness.org, and you can also comment in the comment section, and we might be able to comment back. We're always looking for new material, and if you like this and you want to see more of it, please feel free to fire us your suggestions as well. On behalf of the Zephyr Wellness crew, excuse me, that makes for good video when you're burping into the microphone. On behalf of the Zephyr Wellness crew, the family, and on behalf of the Noggin Notes team, if you haven't downloaded that app, please do so. By the way, Noggin Notes is great. I wish you all great mental wellness. Thanks for watching.